This is our chance, Paul. You do a little Wall Street jargon right now. We're talking 100 baggers. These are stocks that gained 10,000% or more since that peak in the S&P back during the dot-com bubble. I'm looking at the list. I don't really see a clear theme. I'm a little bit surprised I don't see a lot of tech. Is there a connection? Is there a theme when it comes to these stocks?
Well, I think the theme you want to pull away from this list is the fact that biggest winners in the market over time can come from any sector. You know, we're constantly like Pavlovian dogs thinking to always look to tech for the biggest winners. But when you look throughout of those biggest winners back in March 2000, at the worst possible time to buy stocks, there were, as you said, 1,900 baggers, and they come from 7 different sectors. 5 of them were from the industrial sector, 5 of them from consumer discretionary, 4 from technology, and then 4 other sectors represented. So they can really come from anywhere. And when you look at these names now, you see Apple and NVIDIA and Monster Energy on the list. But a lot of these names aren't household names now, and they sure as heck weren't household names back in March of 2000. So the lesson here is, besides that they can come from any sector, is that you shouldn't necessarily follow the herd when it comes to trying to look for the biggest winners. The 10 largest stocks in the S&P 500 in March 2000, only 5 of them are up since then, over the last 25 years. And collectively, they've had half of the return of the S&P 500.
That's really
And conversely, you look at the 10 largest stocks now, they're up an average or a median gain of about 900% over the last 5 years.
Paul, that's fascinating.
Can I
jump in for a second?
So you don't really want to look.
I want to ask you about a couple of these 100 baggers. Let me jump in. I hate to cut you off. We were just looking at the list of some of them, 2 that are kind of in the news right now. I just mentioned them a short time ago. AutoZone and O'Reilly, they're on this list. They just hit all-time highs. We have a lot of people that come on this show and say, I'm a long-term investor. I advise people who are long-term investors. We're not really worried about short-term volatility. When you see a stock like this, that's just aftermarket auto parts, not sexy in any way, it's not a big high-growth area, what does that tell you when you're looking at stocks to invest in for the quote-unquote long-term that so many people say they're doing when they come on here?
Well, so 2 themes. You know, the average age of a car has gone up 40% over the last 25 years. So that has helped these 2 stocks. But with any of these stocks, it's easy to say, oh, if I only knew, I would have just bought and held. It would have been so easy. But these stocks have seen, all 19 of these stocks have seen wrenching volatility. You've seen every one of them has saw at least a peak to trough decline of 40% at some point, all but 2 50% declines. And NVIDIA, one of the biggest winners, it's seen 7 peak to trough declines of more than 50%. Including an 80% decline in 2007, a 90% decline after the dot-com bust, and a 2/3 decline back in 2022. So these stocks, it's not necessarily just finding the theme, but having the stomach. I think most investors would not be able to stomach the volatility of these names by looking at them on a day-to-day basis.
Paul, can I ask you a quick question? I think those people looking to hold on to stocks for the next 25 years to maybe 2050, any of the stocks on this list that you think might be a smart move to hold on to them for the next 25?
So from this list, not necessarily, although I think one of the names, LNG, Schneider Energy, that is, you know, U.S. Natural gas exports. That's going to be a theme going on for, you know, several years down the road. I don't think it will be another 100 bagger, but it's a name that, you know, you can see further gains ahead. And in the car industry, you have Open Lane, KAR, which is a stock that's not on the list, which is streamlining the used car industry, which could be a name to look for going forward.